Good morning. Today, I'm going to introduce you to goal mapping. This is a very simple system for achieving sustainable success, whether it's in business, in your personal life, or you simply want to change a bad habit. Let me tell you a little bit about how I discovered goal mapping, and then we're going to go through some of the science behind goal mapping, and I'll show you how to create a goal map of your own. So it was back in 2006. I was at Date with Destiny, one of the best events that Tony Robbins puts on, in my opinion. And it was an amazing 5 days. During these 5 days, we made friends. We talked about all the different things we were going to achieve and what was going to happen in 10 years' time. And we even got to draw out a picture of our perfect life in 10 years. It was a picture that was done on a board with words and pictures. And at the time, I didn't realize, but it was actually a goal map. Now let's move forward 10 years to 2016. I'd moved to Russia. I was living in Russia and I was bringing people to Tony Robbins events with a group called Meet Partners. And we were at a UPW, an Unleash the Power Within event. And I was talking to the management team from Meet Partners, and we were discussing about our experiences of Tony Robbins. And I realized that here we were nearly 10 years to the day after I'd done this first goal map at Date with Destiny. And pretty well everything on that goal map had come true. Now, most of it was fairly materialistic. Things like where I was going to live in this house by the sea, having a nice car, a family, all of these things. And I'd moved on in my life from there. And I was now looking at the bigger picture, really what I wanted to do with the world. But I suddenly realized that I'd done this goal map or whatever it was, and it had this incredible power to get me to achieve exactly what I wanted. So me being me, I thought I'd go and do some research, find out a bit more about it, and see if I could find some people who could teach me how to use it. I found Brian Main, who was the person who invented it, and he became a good friend, and I went through and certified as a goal mapping master coach. And I'd now like to take you through some of the steps of how it works, the science behind goal mapping, and I'm going to show you how to produce a goal map for yourself that you can go online and do at any time. You just click on, I'll give you the links and everything, and you can just click on and produce your own goal map. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation so that we can do this together, and then I'll come back and we'll discuss, and at the very end we can have a question and answers and see how we work through this. So, goal mapping, the simple system for sustainable success. This is some of the companies and businesses that use goal mapping to get their staff focused and actually achieve the great things that they can. So you've got international companies like Microsoft, Siemens, Disney, and other companies that I'm sure you know. But it's not just business. Goal mapping has been used in education for kids so that they can plan out and see where their future is going to be and also have the best opportunity for succeeding. And along with children, we see that goal mapping is used in sport. Now, visualization, which is the basics behind goal mapping, has been used by many of the top sports people in the world. And in fact, it was sports that first really introduced this into the mainstream world. And now it's used in business, and visualization can be used in lots of other areas. Here's 3 amazing sports people who have achieved their successes, first by thinking about it, and second by actually doing it. This young lady, Catalina Collier, she's a kickboxer, but she'd given up on her dream of being a world champion. She then met Brian Main and discovered goal mapping. She produced this goal map on the right, and as you can possibly see from the dates, in 2013 she created it, and just 1 year later she achieved her dream and became world kickboxing champion. Now, Catalin has actually now gone into coaching and uses goal mapping to help her students and her clients to achieve their dreams and get what they want. I'd like you to think for a second about the word beach. Think of a beach. Now, I can't actually go to you and ask you what you thought about, but I'd just like to know, did anyone think of the word B-E-A-C-H, or did you have a picture? Did you see maybe white sand in the sea? Maybe there was a deck chair, or somewhere you were sitting that you could have a drink, palm trees, a holiday maybe, all of these things that you could picture that we see as a beach. Now, it's not just when we picture the beach. Actually, when we think about things generally, we usually think in pictures, not words. But that picture can mean something else. That picture could actually mean, a holiday, relaxation. It's only when we bring the picture and the words together that we actually see that that meant a beach. And this is how goal mapping works. This is all about whole brain activity. When we have whole brain activation, we're actually getting the right side of the brain, which is our creative side, and the left side, the logic side. Now, don't pull me up on this. I know that I've actually discussed it with a neuroscientist, and he said it's not quite so simple as that. But just for ease sake, we'll just call it the right side and left side of the brain. And these really create the pictures in the visual side of our brain, at the right side, and they create strategies and planning and get us to take action in the left side, the logic side of the brain. And when we bring these two sides together, just like that picture of the beach with the word beach underneath it, we actually get much more chance of achieving what we want. I'm going to take you to a saying by Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And I found this to be true in many, many things in my life. So if you really don't believe you can do something, you rarely do it. And if you really believe you can, you usually do achieve it. So it's really important to set this up in our brains and believe and start to create absolute confidence that we can achieve something. The way that we do this is by actually having positive thoughts. Now, I'm going to take you into another analogy. Imagine you're standing there and you're at the side of a field with very long green grass, and you can't really see over it, but you know you've got to get to the other side of the field. And when you cross that field, you push the grass aside and you sort of form a little pathway as you go. And then you come back tomorrow to that same place and you have to get across that same field. And some of the grass has come back up, but a lot of it is still trodden down. So you walk across and you follow that same route and you get to the other side. Now, if you keep doing this day after day, eventually what happens? The grass doesn't come back up anymore. And in fact, if you've been on a country lane, you probably noticed that it doesn't even grow back after some time. The path stays and it becomes very easy to find your way across that field. The same thing happens in our brain. We produce neural pathways by having thoughts. And when we have a positive thought, we produce serotonin, which actually boosts our brain and boosts the opportunity for this thought to continue from brain cell to brain cell, completing a really strong neural pathway that actually starts as a thought, becomes an idea, and eventually becomes a habit that can create reality. So this is how it works. You think of the thought, you create the goal that then joins these thoughts together, and that creates a pathway from brain cell to brain cell, and you give yourself a great opportunity of it coming true. Nothing improves without change. Now, I said this many, many years ago, and right now we really are in a world that is changing faster than ever. I mean, never mind COVID, we were changing pretty quickly even before that. But in this last year, everything has just gone at such a fast speed. We're doing things totally differently to how we did them before. And change always creates opportunities. But the problem with change is that we don't always get into it if we don't know what's going to happen. So uncertain change, we're pretty afraid of. It's like if you imagine if you're going to get a gift and it's your birthday and you get a box and it's a surprise and you open it up and you love that sort of surprise, but walking around a corner on a dark night when there's no lights and you're in a strange place that you don't really know what's going to be around the corner, something changes, we're uncertain about what's going to happen and we fear that. So what we need to do is we need to create a very strong idea of what is going to happen, a certain level of certainty, and then this gets rid of the fear. I'm going to talk you through another factor here, which is the DAC factor. If you've got 5 people going for a job, so they've all got the same technical skills, technical knowledge, and they've all got the same training, and they've got the same skills. All 5 of them are perfect for the job. They all get the job, and they all start at the same time. But it's been proven that of those 5 people, 3 of them will achieve good results and do the job well. One person will become the X factor. They'll move up and they'll be the manager, they'll get promoted, and they'll be the achiever in the bunch. And unfortunately, there's going to be one person who's going to drop away, who won't stay in the job for whatever reason, and will pass it by. And the reason for this is the DAC factor. So what is the DAC factor? Well, it's drive, it's attitude, and it's confidence. So when you have these 3 things in place, when you wake up in the morning and you really want to achieve something, you've got the drive, you get out of bed and you want to do it, when you've got the right attitude, how you deal with people, how you speak to people, how you network and make friends and do things because you're confident and you know what you want to achieve and you're confident you're going to achieve it, then you've got much more chance of being successful and actually getting what you want. Setting goals helps you achieve this. Having a goal and focusing on it and understanding, as you'll see in the next part, how to set goals that you're going to achieve gives you a great deal of confidence, and this improves your drive and your attitude. Now, when we do goals, we set them in the 3 Ps. This is the positive, the personal, and the present. The reason we do this is really clear. We set positive goals, so it's always something that we want. The reason we make it positive is, as we spoke about before, when we're forming these neural pathways, when it's a positive idea, we get serotonin, the reward drug, something that makes things flow. If we think in the negative, we release cortisol, and this tends to be our fight or flight drug. It stops us from thinking. It blocks the brain cells from passing on and creating a neural pathway. So we do everything in the positive. We do it in the personal. The reason we do it in the personal is because you actually can't create a goal for somebody else. You can create goals for yourself to help somebody else achieve something that you want them to have, but you cannot create a goal for somebody else. It's got to be about you. And the reason we do it in the present is because we want to tell our brain that it's happening now. We want to tell our brain that we've actually achieved this, because when we tell our brain that we've achieved something, it starts making it happen, because our brain doesn't like to be wrong. So it does everything in its power, and sometimes things that just come from outside of our own power, to make sure that we achieve what we want. This is what a goal map looks like. So when we're creating a goal map, we have various different sections. There's 7 parts to it. The first part is the dreaming, the thinking, the visualization of what we want. And this is important to do very deeply. When you do visualize what you want, what I really recommend to people is that you create that picture, not just in your head, but it becomes reality. You put yourself there. So you start to make it in color. Actually start to have smells maybe. Know what's going on there. Feel the emotions. Put people you want to be in your future when you've achieved that goal into the picture. So everything becomes a real, like, reality to you. Because when you give your brain that reality, it's got more chance of creating it and making it happen. And once you've written down those affirmations in that 3P sentence, the personal, positive, and present, then you're going to do a picture to go with that. And the reason we do the picture to go with it is because, as we heard before with the beach, when we think in pictures and put the word together, we get rid of any ambiguity. So the first section is this central section. We have 5 goals. The one in the middle is what we want to achieve for our life, or it's the main goal, the main focus of what we're talking about, our business. Maybe it's the motivating factor of your business, the purpose of your business, the purpose of your life. It's the thing that you really want to achieve. And then around the outside, you have 4 more goals that are going to support that central goal. So it might be your best life, and then you're going to achieve things and do things that are going to help you create your best life. The second thing, which is really important, is the 3 goals across the top. These are your emotional goals. Why are these important? Well, everything we do is led by the emotions we're going to receive. So it's how we're going to be getting this emotion. It's, whether it's about love or happiness, what emotions will those goals give you that's really going to power you to achieving what you want? Something that's going to make you feel good, something that's going to create the life that you want and the feelings that you want. The next section that we do is this central section. Now, this is where we put in the dates. We put a start date and a finish date. And the reason that we do this is because actually a goal without a finish date is just an idea. The brain won't actually activate that idea or make it happen until it knows when it's got to happen. And don't worry if you don't achieve things by the date. It's there just to give you a target, something to aim at. And when we print this out, which we'll do when it's finished, when we put everything on there, you print it out. And then my suggestion is always to sign your name in the middle of those 2 dates, in that section in the middle. And the reason why we do this, the reason that we sign our goal map, is that this gives a message to our brain, that it gives us an accountability message. Because when we put our signature on something, we take ownership of it. And we're telling our brain that this has got to happen. The next section is the section on the right, the 3 goals on the right at the bottom. Now, these are really important. These are our action steps. These are our how. And this is something that you can start straight away. So the goals that go in here are things you can do immediately, start working on immediately to achieve the success that you want. And within these, actually in the system, there's even a drop-down to-do list. So you can actually put in even daily or weekly or monthly things that you're going to do that are going to help you get towards achieving that goal. And that goal is going to help you achieve your greater goals, which are the ones above, and your life goals. And then on the left-hand side, we have 3 more goals. And this is the people who are going to help you. It can be you, it can be a society, a business, another business. It can be anything that you wish that's going to help you to achieve the goals and to achieve the future that you want. And each of these, we put pictures in. So we have our verbal written affirmations, and then we put a picture to match it. And where do we get these pictures from? Well, you can do any of 3 things. You can draw the pictures, You can find the pictures within your own computer library, pictures that you've taken or pictures that you save from the internet. So you could go on Google or a search engine and find pictures that associate with you and tell you that this is very linked to your goal. Or within the online system, there's a whole set of pictures, a whole library of different pictures that you can go through and find a picture that resonates with you, that says this is your affirmation, that creates the picture in your brain that relates to the affirmation that you've made. It's so simple and yet so successful. This is my goal map that I produced earlier this year. Actually, it was December last year, but for this year. And it's something that I really believe that I want to achieve in the next 2 years. And there's lots of things on there that I can talk to you about and we can go through later. I've actually got the goal map with me. And it's something that I look at every single day. And my suggestion is always, when you've got the goal map, you print it out, you sign it in the middle so that you're giving yourself commitment to it happening. And then you look at it every day for a minimum of 30 days, reading the affirmations, looking at the pictures, reading them out loud, I find is best. Don't read them in your head, read them out loud, and do it for 30 days to build that neural pathway to success. Give this a try. It's only 30 days and see how successful you can be. And you'll see massive changes. You'll see that things start happening almost like in The Secret. You'll start attracting things into your life because you'll be focused on what you really want and what you really want to achieve. These are my contact details if you want to get in touch with me, and I'll share later. We can share with you all the goal mapping link that will get you to the goal map page online, and you can go on there and you can create your own goal map yourself. I really hope you love that as much as I love it. It really is a very, very simple system for sustainable success.